Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam.
Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam.
Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat.
Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat.
Nayatra soko najorana mrityur.
Nayatra soko najorana mrityur.
Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit.
Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit.
Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam.
Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam.
Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat.
Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat.
Vaishnavis,
Yatra soko najarana mrityur. Natirna chodvega vite kutaschit. Yachittato da kripaya nidam vidam. Duranta dukkha prabhavanudarsanat. Yatra soko najarana mrityur.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. क्या केवल हिंदी जाने और हिंदी जानता है, अंग्रेजी नहीं जानता है? Someone can translate for the two ladies sit together. We'll do it. बांग्ला जाने हिंदी बना अंग्रेजी जाने someone can translate for him. In the planet of Satya Loka, there is neither bereavement, nor old age, nor death. There is no pain of any kind. And therefore there are no anxieties. Save, sometimes, due to consciousness, there is a feeling of compassion for those unaware of the process of devotional service, who are subjected to unsurpassable miseries in the material world. Report by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Foolish men of materialistic temperament do not take advantage of successive authorized knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is authorized and acquired not by experiment, but by authentic statements of the Vedic literature, explained by bona fide authorities. Simply by becoming an academic scholar, one cannot understand the Vedic statements. One has to approach the real authority who has received the Vedic knowledge by disciplic succession, as clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2. Lord Krishna affirmed that the system of knowledge as explained in the Bhagavad Gita was explained to the Sun God, and the knowledge descended by disciplic succession from the Sun God to his son Manu, and from Manu to King Ikshvaku, the forefather of Lord Ramachandra. And thus the system of knowledge was explained down the line of great sages, one after another. But in due course of time, the authorized succession was broken. And therefore, just to re-establish the true spirit of the knowledge, the Lord again explained the same knowledge to Arjuna, who was a bona fide candidate for understanding due to his being a pure devotee of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, as it was understood by Arjuna, is also explained. Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 verses 12 to 13. But there are many foolish men who do not follow the footsteps of Arjuna in understanding the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. They create instead their own interpretations, which are as foolish as they themselves, and therefore only help to put a stumbling block on the path of real understanding, misdirecting the innocent followers who are less intelligent, or the Sudras. It is said that one should become a Brahmana before one can understand the Vedic statements. And this stricture is an important as the stricture that no one shall become a lawyer who has not qualified himself as a graduate. Such a stricture is not an impediment in the path of progress for anyone and everyone, but it is necessary for an unqualified understanding of a particular science. Vedic knowledge is misinterpreted by those who are not qualified Brahmanas. A qualified Brahmana is one who has undergone strict training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The Vedic wisdom guides us to understanding our relation with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and to acting accordingly in order to achieve the desired result of returning home back to Godhead. But materialistic men do not understand this. They want to make a plan to become happy in a place where there is no happiness. For false happiness, they try to reach other planets, either by Vedic rituals or by spacecraft. But they should know for certain that any amount of materialistic adjustment for becoming happy in a place which is meant for distress cannot benefit the misguided man. Because after all, the whole universe with all its paraphernalia will come to an end at a certain point. Then all plans of materialistic happiness will automatically come to an end. The intelligent person therefore makes a plan to return home, back to Godhead. Such an intelligent person surpasses all the pains of material existence like birth, death, disease, and old age. He is actually happy because he has no anxieties of material existence. But as a compassionate sympathizer, he feels unhappiness for the suffering of materialists. And thus he occasionally comes before the materialistic man to teach them the necessity of going back to Godhead. All the bona fide acharyas preach this truth of returning home back to Godhead and warn men not to make a false plan for happiness in a place where happiness is only a myth. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta Swami translation and purport to the Srimad-Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 2nd Chapter, 27th verse, in the chapter entitled The Lord in the Heart. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Translation again. In that planet of Satyaloka, there is neither bereavement, nor old age, nor death. There is no pain of any kind, and therefore there is no anxieties. Say that sometimes through the consciousness there is a feeling of compassion for those unaware of the process of devotional service, who are subjected to unsurpassable miseries in the material world. So the yogis, when the universe is disintegrating, they go to Satyaloka. And then from Satyaloka, some go back to Godhead with Lord Brahma, and some by devotional service, they penetrate the 7 layers of the universe, and they go back to Godhead directly by self-realization. What's interesting here, in this purport, Prabhupada covers many things, very long purport, page and a half. One thing he mentions here is how the knowledge descended by disciplic succession from the sun god to his son Manu, Manu to Ikshwaku, the forefather of Ramchandra. We were just in the South Indian safari, touching holy places and Divya Deshas in Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka. So when we went to Sri Rangam, where Lord Ranganath is, we wanted to hear the Mahatmya of the Ranganath Devi. We were told that Lord Brahma was very eager to worship the Lord. So he was meditating on the side of the milk ocean for a long time. And out of the milk ocean came a self-manifested deity of the Lord lying on Anantasesha, which is Lord Ranganath. And Brahma took him, the deity, to Satyaloka, and was worshipping him in Satyaloka. He also trained some of the residents of Satyaloka to do the worship. And they were doing the worship. And then, no, I can't remember whether the sun god somehow got, or directly Manu god. But anyway, somehow, either through the sun god or directly, Lord Brahma allowed this deity to be worshipped by Manu. So he was worshipping. Then from Manu, Ikshwaku requested that he could worship the deity. So the deity was kept on earth and was worshipped by the Surya Vans. So must have come anyway through the Surya Dev. And from Ishwaku, the Raghu dynasty, and then Ram himself was worshipping. So they say that when Ram came back after the war with Ravan, he came back to Ayodhya. Then he was giving gifts to various devotees that were coming to Ayodhya. And the blessings and gifts and things after his coronation. So the king of one of the versions is the king of the South Indian dynasty at that time. He was very enamored by the beauty of the deity of Ranganath, and he did tapasya in Sri Rangam that the Lord would come and stay there in his kingdom. There's other versions, but anyway, somehow the Lord Ram was requested by Vibhishana that he should go to Sri Lanka and stay there. But he said, "Now I've been away 14 years from Ayodhya, how can I go to Sri Lanka? I have to stay here now. So we'll miss you so much." So then Lord Ram gave him Lord Ranganath to take to Sri Lanka so that he could worship his personal deity of the Raghu dynasty. And there's so many pastimes. But then finally the Lord, he said, he did it, he was put down in Sri Rangam and worshipped there. And then when Vibhishana tried to take him, he couldn't take him. And then the Lord said he wants to stay here in Sri Rangam, but face him to the south. He'll face him to Sri Lanka, he'll give blessings to Sri Lanka. So I was reading this and it reminded me, because the same how the Parampara comes down, how the Bhagavad Gita knowledge comes down, that's how Lord Ranganath came down. So all our devotees were very amazed. But here's the deity that was worshipped by Brahma, worshipped by Surya Dev, worshipped by Manu, worshipped by Ram, Vibhishana, and he's still there. You can have his darshan. Jai Radha Mahan ki, Krishna Balaram ki, Lord Sikh, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda ki. There's all those very special holy places all over India with very special deities. And so it's I brought up to the RTB a couple of years ago that we should have our temples in all the holy places and have pilgrim facilitation centers. So we encourage people, because when they come to holy places, if you don't have a devotee guide, usually you don't get much information what's really going on. People just speculate something, or they say, yesterday we were fortunate when we went to Sandapani Muni. The Pandit there was pretty well versed. He said how Krishna came and he was there 64 days, and in the 64 days he had memorized all the things he had learned, all the Puranas and the Vedas and the Sanhitas and Bhagavad Gita and everything. So we don't always find people that know. Once we went to the Sagar Island, one Brahmin came up and I asked him, "Tell me the Mahatmya of this place." He said, "I'm a new Brahmin. I don't know yet. You gotta ask an old Brahmin. I just know how to teach you how to, take you through the puja of the Sangam and get my dakshina." So he didn't know. Then we asked an older Brahmin, he started, he had memorized the slokas, and so we gave him the dakshina. It's like that, many places you go. Many people just see Tirumala, they just go and have a darshan. They don't know all the Mahatmya of the different places. It gives us a chance to preach. So that was here. I'm really happy to be here in Ujjain, which is a Puranic place. Now we have our temple here with our Raghava Pandit. He's the Das. He's a pretty expert in the Mahatmya of the local place. He was guiding us around yesterday. You need to have some people, the devotees that know what's the Mahatmya of the local place and tell. It's like in the Bhagavatam it says that if you go to a holy place, you should seek out the holy people and find out from them the Mahatmya of the place, get some spiritual instruction. Nowadays people go to holy places and they just see the deities, take a dip and leave. They don't. So there's no big change in their consciousness. Yesterday, or was it this morning, I forget. One person, he said he's a local here from Ujjain. I said, you're very fortunate to be in a holy place. He said, now our place is more holy because of the Radha Madan Mohan temple. We have now more holiness. It's enhanced. So he was very appreciative. The other thing here, we find how the knowledge is handed down by Guru Parampara. This is what Prabhupada wanted, that his followers, his disciples will be gurus, their disciples will be gurus, the Parampara shouldn't end with him. Some people would want to end the Parampara with Prabhupada, but throughout his books he's talking about Guru Parampara. He never talked about ending it, rather continuing it and keeping the line. So everyone has to study Prabhupada's books and become qualified so they can continue carrying on the Guru Parampara. The thing it says here that in order to understand the Vedic knowledge, someone has to become a Brahmana. The Prabhupada said he made the Krishna conscious movement to make Brahmanas. That people would take up Krishna consciousness. I remember there was a big argument once when one of the Prabhupada was naming ISKCON. Sometimes it's called in Hindi Antarjatik, and sometimes it's Antarashtriya. So Prabhupada was saying, call it Antarjatik. Antarjatik also under both mean international. But Antarjatik also means interfaith, or different jatis. So jatis are a synonym for nation, but also synonym for castes. So Prabhupada said, good, they were for all the castes. But then one Brahman was, one life member, some Brahman, he was saying, no, but it should be Antarashtriya because not all the castes, no, Prabhupada, all the castes, everyone. Because Prabhupada's mission was to bring everyone up to become Brahmana Vaishnavas. To have a Daiva Varnashram, a unified Varnashram where everyone is qualified and they all can understand the bona fide, understand the Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada also says here, qualified Brahman is one who has undergone strict training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So actually, know Krishna is Jagat Guru. Krishna knows everything. But he did a pastime of accepting a guru. He came here to Avantipura and he accepted Sandipani Muni as his guru to show that everyone should have a guru. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was going for his studies. He also accepted teacher, accepted guru. He said that he was shown all the aksharas of Sanskrit. He learned them all in one day. Normally people just to learn the a, I, U, they have to spend 6 months maybe. The next day they showed him all the jukta aksharas. Because in Sanskrit you put combined letters. Like in English everything is separate letters, in Italian. But in Sanskrit it's a phonetic alphabet, so they combine the letters. Like Kshatriya is Ka, or Kshipra, it's K, S, it's one letter, Kshi. So you had to learn all this Juktakshar. That's also another, for the primary school, maybe it takes a whole year to learn all your Juktakshars. Lord Chaitanya learned them all in one day. That reminded me, because here when we heard how Krishna, he learned all the Puranas one day. Each day he learned one Purana, one Veda. So Lord Chaitanya, he also was learning like that one day. So the time he was 11, he was already head of his own, he's already PhD, already professor, head of his own school. I was saying how Krishna's pastime, when Krishna came again in Kali Yuga as Gauranga. Here it's nice because here we see a lot of pictures of Krishna. People, they accept Krishna as Supreme Personality. But still, we want them also that they should know that Krishna came again in Kali Yuga as Gauranga. This is something which Prabhupada wanted to do for India. He had Lord Chaitanya's teachings printed here first. He had also that 7th chapter Chaitanya Charitamrita. What's it called? The five features. He had those books, introduced Lord Chaitanya, introduced Vaishnavism to the public. So he was very much wanting us to present Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But as we go around, like we travel in South India or travel in North India, this is one thing which is obvious. That many people accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many people don't even know Lord Chaitanya. And those who know him, they accept him as a sannyasi, they accept him as maybe a saint, but very few people accept him as Krishna coming again. Because he came as a Chandra avatar, he came as a hidden incarnation. He came as a devotee. So while he was here acting as a devotee, he never publicly admitted that he was Vishnu or Krishna. Privately to some devotees he revealed, but that was all very confidential. But to the public image, he kept himself as a devotee. So it's important for us to establish Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, I don't think there's any of the other Sampradayas, including our own, the Madhvas, who accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna or Avatar. Only those people who come into the Gaudiya fold, who maybe some of the Vrindavan is people that accept him, but those who are in contact with the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, who chant Hare Krishna, then they start to accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually Krishna, because there's so many actually pramanas that Krishna will come again in Kali Yuga. He'll spread the Sankirtan Yagya. Krishna Varnam Tisa Krishnam Sangapangas Taparshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayari Janti Someda Saha. Prediction in the Bhagavatam, prediction in other Puranas. So Lord Chaitanya, he fulfills those predictions. So it says here in the Satyaloka, there's no problem, no disease, no old age. That sounds very attractive now that we're getting into old age. We're just in the beginning of old age, when it gets, I don't know what happens when it gets older, in the 50s and 60s, then we get 70s, 80s. So already the different organs are starting to not work, having developed problems. Special diets, blood pressure, and so many different things, heart problems. So this is one of the RGB was discussing, the GBC was discussing the continuation, that, what's that word, what's it called, the succession. That we had to train up all our younger devotees to be responsible, to take responsibility for spreading the Sankirtan movement, so that when it's here on this planet, we're not in like Satyaloka, old age is here, disease is here. Even we couldn't have our beloved Radhanath Swami here because he's suffering some kind of disease. And these are the problems in this planet. So we need our younger devotees to become very responsible, so they can take up more and more responsibility, so that there's a proper succession in the Krishna conscious movement. When we went to the Rajamundry, then right opposite from the Rajamundry temple, there's some other temple. There's a picture of an old man and a woman sitting there. So they were claiming to be Kalki Avatar and his wife, Lakshmi. But then people were saying Kalki is not predicted for a few 100,000 years. How can he be Kalki? So said, this is a problem. So then he changed, said, I'm just a Vishnu Avatar. But then they were saying, that you don't really seem to have the qualities of Vishnu. So then what's the latest name? Then he just gave himself a new name, Mother and Father. Universal Mother and Father. And the other deities, this man and woman sitting in the temple there. You go there. It's like in India, anything, like so many crazy things going on. Even they change, Okay, I'm not Kalki, but I'm, still I'm an avatar. Okay, maybe not exactly a specific avatar, but I'm the general universal avatar, Somehow or another, and then if you want to get his blessing, ordinary blessing, 1.5 lakhs. But if you want a super maha blessing, then you got to pay 5 lakhs. Then he gives you some kind of shock treatment and some medicine, gives you something to eat, and for 2-3 days you go crazy. And then after that you come out of it and you just stay there shocked. That costs you 5 lakhs. I don't know if he's breaking the drug act or something, what drug he's giving him. So like so many bogus things are going on. And so many, like it's saying, unintelligent people, they just go and accept it. They don't know. If anybody knew the Vedas, if they know Bhagavad Gita, how can you accept all these people who just claim to be God? Pay him 5 lakhs and get a shock treatment. So that's why we need to spread Prabhupada's books and get people to chant Hare Krishna and read the book, then he started to understand. Everything makes sense. I remember one life member in Bangalore. He's a Brahmana and he was brought up as a smarter Brahmana. So he said, I know Sri Sukta, Sri Sukta, Devi Sukta, Purusha Sukta, and all the different prayers. And I can chant everything. I can Mangala, Charana, what do you call it? Swasti, Vachana, everything. But in his temple room, he's got every devata, everybody there, like 20 different. And you don't know who's supreme, so better put everybody, bound to get one of them right. Then he became a life member and put the books on his shelf. After 3 years, he took out the Bhagavad Gita, took out Prabhupada's book, started reading. He was shocked. My goodness, Krishna is God. I never knew. I mean, I knew he's one of the gods, but the God. The Supreme God. And now he and his whole family, they're chanting 16 rounds. And even our Brahmanas, so-called, the Brahmanas, they're also not clear who is the Supreme. So I know that Prabhupada told me that because he asked me, I'm from the West, born, when I came here to India, then he said that he would preach to the Indians. But he said preaching to Indians is different because they already have faith. They have some faith, they have some knowledge. He said it's like a coal, burning coal, but it gets covered by the ashes. Like in the West, there's no burning coal, it's just dry wood. You have to light it, ignite it, get it burning. But here already some burning is there, but it's covered by the ashes. So you have to fan the ashes off and get the burning to come again. Otherwise, people have a natural sense of respect, many of them maybe diminishing. Here, especially in Madhya Pradesh, people seem very respectful. Generally in India, respectful. Some states more than others. So we have our duty to somehow inspire the Indians to take up their own culture. And Guru Maharaj brought up yesterday, we could preserve the Indian culture from India, spread it around the world. I mentioned this at the opening of the Bombay Center. The Prabhupada, he said, I'm preaching all over the world the glories of Indian culture. I'm preaching how Indian philosophy, Indian culture is the greatest. Everybody should adopt it. When people come back to India, they see the Indians are adopting Western culture. They don't say that if they come back to India and Indian culture gradually disappearing in India, then it'll be harder for us to preach. You're telling us Indian culture is so great, the Indians don't follow it themselves. So in India we have this special mandate how to inspire the Indians to practice the essence of their culture, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad-Bhagavatam, primarily. Getting people to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. In the Tirupati temple opening, the Ramanujacharya Jir said he'd come just give a blessing. He would come for half hour and give a blessing, but he liked it so much. The big yagyas, enthusiastic devotees. He came every day.
7 days.
For 7 days. With his junior also. Both acharyas. And at the end they were there also for the Mahabhishek installation. So when all the 8,000 devotees came and hundreds of devotees from around the world. And he was so impressed, he said that how you're getting the foreign devotees to wear tilak. We can't even get the Indians to wear tilak. How are you getting? He said, then he commented that we know of so many rituals, but these rituals are not changing the heart of people. But your chanting of Hare Krishna is so powerful that you're changing the hearts of people and getting them to take up the spiritual practices. What is it exactly what he said? We have to learn from you? Or
yeah, we have to learn from you because your holy name is the ultimate.
You have to learn from you, your holy name is the ultimate.
And told the tilak also. And he said, your tilak is the right tilak, our tilak is not okay.
Really?
According to the Shastra, tilak should start from the nose. This is the correct procedure. But we just put 3 namas and put a dot down. But yours is the right tilak.
Wow. Breakthrough. You heard what he said? He said that the Sri Sampradaya Acharya said, your tilak is the correct tilak. Shastra says you start from the nose and go up. We just put up. We don't go down to the nose. We just put a dot there in the bottom. So your tilak is correct from nose and then up. Pretty good to hear that from the Sri Sampradaya.
And Sri Rangam Jayar came to Tirupati temple, our temple.
Acha, the Sri Rangam Ji also came.
Yeah, we received him with the nice reception, dancing, kirtan and all. And he gave a 20 minutes class. And in the class he said, you devotees, ISKCON devotees are monkeys. And I was translating as quiet. Then he said, not ordinary monkeys, monkeys of Rama.
You're monkeys of Rama. Years ago, 3 years ago when we went, or 6 years ago we went to Sri Lanka, not this time, we went to see the Jir. At that time he told us that you are all representatives of Andal. In their tradition, Andal is a partial incarnation of Lakshmi who came down and she preached that everyone should play drums and cymbals and chant the holy names in the street. And she would do daily Harinam. So we all did a big kirtan for him. He said, you're all representatives of Andal. Which is for them like big compliment. So, we have so much service to do. Prabhupada gave us such a big assignment. Prabhupada, he said, my Guru told me to preach around the world, so I'm preaching all over the world. Because some of us are also preaching overseas as well. But then he said that I personally took up India as my own project. My Guru didn't order me to do India. But if I see India going to hell, I have to do something. I can't just stand by and do nothing. So India Yatra is actually Prabhupada's personal project. He made Vrindavan and Mayapur to receive the Westerners, that they could come and see the holy dhams and get purified by going to the dhams. But Bombay and other centers are made for preserving the Indian culture and preaching. So today our RGB second meeting is going on. We have big mandate from Prabhupada, how to spread the Krishna consciousness to all of the Indians. How to many have something, but like how to upgrade and reactivate and awaken, inspire their devotion more. They already know so much, but it's how to just refine that. So I was reading here about people from Satyalok and how they feel compassion. And I remember also Prabhupada said that in his movement, Some of the residents of Satyaloka have come down and joined his movement to help him preaching. Anyone want to identify themselves? I think Bhakti Chudam Maharaj must be from some higher planet. It's so nice, so gentle, out of this world, spiritual sky. So, you don't know where some of these residents even are coming. Maybe they felt some compassion. Look at these people suffering in Kali Yuga. Let's go down and join the Sankirtan movement and help to spread it. So, because they don't even know themselves once you come down and you accept that while you're here for this lifetime, you may not remember your previous life. It's a big sacrifice to come down. You take these temporary material human bodies in this filled with so many difficulties. So intelligent people, they should make a plan to return home back to Godhead. That's why all this I think this is one of the things Lokanath Maharaj saying, Anantipura, one of the 7 Puras. This is one of the places, if you die here, you go back to Godhead. Moksha Puris. So people would come and live in these holy places so that they could get back to Godhead, shortcuts, gateways to the spiritual world. So now we have our temple. Nice to be here. I'm so grateful to all the Bhakti Chudamral, all the devotees for developing this monumental temple, beautiful community, wonderful devotees. Here in this Moksha Puri. Seems easy to chant japa here also. I have to sneak away here sometime and just come and nobody can find me from my zone. None of those problems. Maharaj has all the problems here. So some places we're going right in the heart of the city, which is Kalipuri, the residents of the Kali. But there we make a temple, we make a community, we make a spiritual environment so that people come to that and then they get purified. And some places where, in the holy places where people are coming to get purified, to drop off some sins, we want them to come visit the temple and take it as an opportunity to preach to them, to give them Prabhupada's books, and here beginning in the holy places are different. Sometimes they say in Bengal there's a saying, those who live that there's the shadow under the lamp. Lamp is giving the light all around, but under the lamp there's a shadow. Or that sometimes they say also people live near the railway station miss more trains. Sometimes people in the holy places, they take it for granted. I already know everything. I'm holy Brahmin and this and that. So they don't always take it very serious. So sometimes it's difficult preaching to the people. Like our book distributors, they find we do more book distribution outside of Nadia district. Nadia district, they're a little more tough to distribute books, to do better outside than in the whole. But we had to preach to the people in the holy place also. In Tirupati, they're preaching to the Dhamvasis there. So Prabhupada was saying, we were bringing up and discussing this morning, Prabhupada said 1% of the population you can make Krishna conscious. Then you can make many big changes, has a big impact on society. So like Tirupati has 300,000 people, or 500?
Yeah, 300,000.
So they have about 3,000 people now in the congregation. So that's 1%. So now the Tirumala, they took advice from the temple because many years ago I went there and they were serving out the prasadam with onions. At that time I told the JLRO, the JEO, that you shouldn't be giving onions. So but people like onions. I know, but it's against the Shastra. You're giving prasad, you should give what the Lord likes. You can't offer to the Lord. Can you offer onions to Balaji? No. So give them Balaji prasad. It's supposed to be prasad. Why are you giving them onions? So they stopped it. You don't remember with them. They tell that some Swami came and told us to stop it. You don't know which Swami. But it was ISKCON influence. But now they approached you that other restaurants are serving onions on Tirumala.
Ban onions and garlic on Tirumala.
So now they're going to ban it. From the whole Tirumala, taking advice from ISKCON. Came out in the paper, ISKCON gave advice from the Puranas not to serve onion garlic in the holy place. So ISKCON influence, gradually we're even bringing a higher standard in the holy places. I was happy to hear that now people, when they come to Ujjain, they have to visit Mahakala, visit Shipra, visit Sandipani Munis, and other to visit the ISKCON temple also, one of the holy places. So there's a big mandate here how to make these people Krishna conscious. I'm sure with 3-4% of them become, or 1% or more become Krishna conscious, have a bigger impact. And Prabhupada is saying all the bona fide acharyas preach the necessity of going back to Godhead. The truth of going back home, back to Godhead. One meant not to make a false plan for happiness in a place where happiness is only a myth. Now that India's economy is going up, people are becoming very hopeful that we're going to be happy. We're going to have economic development. We get bigger salaries. We can follow, but people in America and Western country, they're not happy. They have all the big salaries, the blue jeans, the movie, but they're also feeling frustration. They're having so many problems. So just by imitating the West, they're not going to get happiness, they're going to have the same other problem. We get happiness from internal, by chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. So I hope all the Indian leaders come up with a dynamic plan how to expand our movement's influence more and more, so that the young and old of India can all get back to Godhead. To be born in India and not to get back to Godhead, that's a real failure. I mean, this is an easy place to get back to Godhead. Bharat Bhumike Manushya Janma Hailo Jar Janma Shatak Kori Koro Koru Pukar. Lord Chaitanya said, every born Indian should make their life perfect and help others. So let's help the people, let's get people perfect, and then they should help others to be perfect. Other people in India and people around the world. This is our mandate from Prabhupada. I know we're all trying to do something. Everybody's doing a lot. We have to keep on trying to do more and more. and expand Prabhupada. Everyone should know who Prabhupada is also. They should know Lord Chaitanya, they should know Prabhupada. You see the people with different Baba's pictures and lockets. Why do you worship the Baba? No, he's something special. They don't even know why they worship it. It's to give blessing. Prabhupada did what nobody else had done. Transplanted the Indian culture to the West. One Indologist from Australia, with Dr. Bashan, he said the last 2,000 years what Bhaktivedanta Swami did is the biggest thing ever since Jesus brought religion from the East to the West. Since that time, this is the main transplant of an Eastern religion to the West. So people should give that credit to Prabhupada. We had to popularize Prabhupada in all the towns and all the houses. Everybody should have a picture of Prabhupada in their house. Here it says how Satyaloka is so nice. Remember Bhaktivedanta Thakur, in his house, everyone was chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping his deities. And so he had this vision that my house has been transformed into the spiritual world. Everybody's so blissful. Spiritual world, there's no problems either. I mean, there's absolutely no problems. Vaikuntha. So we want everyone to transform their homes into Shraddha Kutirs, into spiritual realms, spiritual dhams, so that they can all be peaceful and happy. We can have peace on earth for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Any comments? Any questions? Loknath Maharaj, comment?
I think that you said we are working, but we'll be working very hard. We are busy, son. We are busy. We're working very hard. I don't know whether we are working smart. Work hard is one thing, but work smart. Yeah, Prabhupada should be in every home. Why people of India do not know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, who is responsible? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not known as Supreme Personality of Godhead. But you are responsible if people don't know this. Or we are responsible. All of us are. Gauranga, Gauri, Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada, others are responsible. So, you talked about strategy, and the leaders are here.
Some of them.
Most of them. And then, you are a very powerful personality. Knowledgeable and a demigod descended on the earth. When a creature like me stands before you, I feel like so you should be going around and more and more. Something should be done to shake up this country, wake up this country to the reality, whatever that reality, Satyameva Jayate is.
We took our safari in South India, woke up a few people.
Very well. And more of this, more of that. We have the truth, we have the mandate. A lot of things are there. We have short time, you were also saying.
Getting old.
Yeah. But before we go on, take some more.
Some of our top generals already left. Govinda Maharaj, Tamabhishna Maharaj, Damodar Maharaj,
Yeah.
Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj,
Sridhar Maharaj.
Sridhar Maharaj.
Yeah, so we should be not just busy with some of the crisis management, but we're busy looking into the future, planning the future, and like that. That's one thought. One comment.
He has a question here. Comments on it.
One comment I want to. What do you have told?
Prema Datta from Agartala, Tripura.
What Maharaj has taught is very right, very perfect, and I can see in Tripura the lot of people is ready to donate land to open temples, and they want ISKCON. They want ISKCON. They select. They don't want other math, no? Like Ramakrishna, etc. They want ISKCON. But unfortunately, we have not sufficient power to satisfy them. This is my very, very, very.
Which kind of power? Manpower, money power, what's power?
Manpower, but leaders, some leaders, but having one leader who can manage everything, they also are ready local people to calculate, but they must be guided. Otherwise, there is some problem.
I think that within ISKCON we have ISKCON India. I think we have a lot of leaders, but potential leaders. We haven't really analyzed. So usually, every temple have their own manpower, and someone might be the temple commander, or maybe the Sankirtan leader, or Pujari, or someone. They may be capable to be the temple president somewhere. But in their temple, they've already got their hierarchy, and maybe we have to break some of these treasure houses and give some opportunity to some of the secondary leaders to move up and take some responsibility in some other place. Get more responsibility, take more responsibility. So it's one of the succession idea, where are our future leaders, how to bring them up, how to train them up. It's important. So there may be leaders in different places, but within the temples, for the temples to sacrifice one of their secondary leaders to be a primary leader somewhere else, that would require the whole commitment of the national leadership that we need to do this kind of thing. In my zone, I don't know how. It's maybe by coincidence. It's maybe because I'm not such a hands-on manager. I just let the people expand according to their abilities. So like in Andhra Pradesh, we have 12 temples now. 12 centers. And I've heard the whole Madhya Pradesh, which is the biggest state in India, only 2 temples. Kerala we have 2 or 3 temples.
It's necessary to suggest to open one center for training of leaders, and therefore send everywhere. That is very necessary.
So Shekwa, you're not an IGV member to propose such as the IGV.
Hare Krishna. A couple of questions. First, you were speaking about Lord Chaitanya's studies as a child and becoming a great scholar by the age of 11. So my question is, who was his teacher? And is that teacher the same Srimad-Bhagavatam from Krishna Lila? That's question number one. And question number two is, how to develop this compassion that we're hearing from speaking about?
Gangadas Pandit was his teacher. I think it was said he was Sandapani, but I can't remember the exact quote. Vrihaspati came down to teach him, but then he became the Sarvabhaumacharya when he got influenced by the Mayavadis and went down to Jagannath Puri, and later he found him there. I think Gangadas Pandit, I can't remember the exact quote, but I have to research it. I'm not allowed to how to develop compassion. Remember Prabhupada's compassion associated with compassionate people. Remember Prabhupada how much compassion he had for the fallen souls, so when they get their wishes get inspired to follow in his footsteps and be compassionate. He said the whole world's on fire, how can I sit by? He could have said Vrindavan, he listened to Moksha Puri also, Mathura Puri. He could have sat and gone back to Godhead. But he took all the trouble to go to the West, preach to the Laksha countries, get beat up by crazy people, get his things stolen, get so many problems because of his compassion. Now ISKCON has got so many facilities, nice temples, nice infrastructure, so it's a lot easier now to preach. We're not just already a good name, it's been established in many places. As you said, people want to help ISKCON, many people want to give help to ISKCON. So now we have a lot easier. Prabhupada did the hard work for us. Many of the first devotees did a lot of hard work to break the trails. Now we should take the ball and run with it. We should try to bring into the conditioned souls. Next year, plan to reach out to the Dina Bandhu, give us a Lakshman, otherwise they're going to get part of people come here like an angry again.
Yeah, I just share comment I want to share because we were discussing how about this concession now and some of the people in the came Guru Krishna. So when Gopal Shankar Goswami comments that the whole world knows that Sandipati Muni was the Guru Krishna, but they don't know. He said, because he had many doubts and he had deficiencies in few different departments of knowledge. But by teaching Krishna and Balaram, he became confident and all his doubts were destroyed. He said, what the world doesn't know is that Krishna was the Guru of Sandipati. Then he gives a nice example. He says that just like the water is taken from the ocean, goes up in the clouds, comes down on the mountains, the snow and melts and flows in rivers back to the ocean. So Sandipati Muni giving instruction to Krishna was like that Vedic knowledge, coming from Krishna, flowing back down into the ocean.
Bhagavan Shri Krishna ki jai, Sandipati Muni ki jai.
Thank you for watching our videos. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.